Welcome to City Beat. I'm Jaret Schneider, and I'm your host this week for the first time, my first time. First off, I'd like to start off by just thanking Mayor Tim Johnston for being here today.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe right off the hop, I'll give you a chance to talk about some of the things that have happened over the past week, as well as anything you'd like to talk about.
Well, it's been a busy week over the last few days or last week. In terms of a number of meetings that were attended, as well as, of course, we held a special meeting of council on Monday evening and dealt with a few key issues that were very time sensitive in terms of trying to get projects completed while the weather still holds. And as you're seeing today, the weather changes very quickly. So McLean Park was dealt with on Monday, as was the Burntwood Trailer Court in terms of drainage. So I was very pleased with council's direction to proceed with those projects and ensure that we get some work done while the weather still is with us. In addition, I had an opportunity on Tuesday night to attend the grand opening of the Best Western, and I want to extend again my congratulations to partners Tony and Elaine on just a fabulous development here in our community, and had a chance to tour through the project, and it is absolutely amazing to see the work that's gone in there. And I often tell people that it's absolutely changed the approach into the city from the north end, and so great job. I was pleased to be a part of that, and a number of other meetings, of course, relating to some of the other topics that are being discussed in and around the community. Certainly we've had a chance to sit down and talk about the future of the Thompson Zoo, and I think that that's likely on the minds of many. I can assure people that I fully support the recommendations of the Thompson Zoological Society in moving towards the Boreal Forest Discovery Center, and ensuring that during that transition period we enable residents to participate in the summers in the petting zoo. It is a good plan. It speaks to long-term sustainability. I understand the emotions that people may have, but believe me, I think this is the best scenario and direction that could have come forward to ensure that children and the community get to enjoy a animal experience for years to come. So I support that, and I think that they've made some good decisions. I want to acknowledge the employees and thank them for their dedication and their work, and as well as former board members. Encourage people to take the opportunity to get down to the zoo this weekend. They're going to be having an opportunity for people to come and take a look at the plan that they have, as well as visit the animals before they're moved. And again, I want to stress the plan has been put in place to ensure that the animals are moved to designated facilities, and quite frankly, likely facilities that are far better equipped to care for the animals than what we were. So that's sort of an update in terms of the last week, and I look forward to any comments or questions listeners may have.
677-8181, taking your calls directly to the mayor. That's 204-677-8181. Mayor Tim, you talked a little bit about the City Council meeting on Monday and the McLean Park. It was passed, even though it is a little bit over budget. What are some of your thoughts on that?
Well, and there was a good discussion on Monday night. First, we had to take it, in our belief, to a special meeting in order to try and beat the weather. Last year, we had a prolonged debate, and quite frankly, by the time decisions were made, we weren't able to get the work done that we needed to last year. And again, I've always believed it's better to do the work in the fall than to count on being able to try and complete projects in the spring, because often the weather doesn't cooperate and we have a late melt. So we are a little bit over budget. I stressed my position that I thought it was important to stay true to the original vision and the plan. That means we have to move approximately $45,000. We have made an application to the federal government that if the application is successful, it would cover that shortfall. We won't find that out until November, so we've made arrangements that we can cover it with moving some money from some other projects, and then when the money comes through, we can finish those projects. So I thanked admin for the work that they did, bringing forward a plan, and I thank council for the support to stay true to the original version of the design and the ability to finish this year so it can be open for events in the spring and summer of 2013.
677-8181. That's 204-677-8181, taking your calls directly to the mayor. You mentioned in the top a little bit about the zoo. It'll be closed for the winter for, I believe, the first time. and it's taking steps in becoming a boreal discovery center. What will this mean for the city of Thompson?
Well, I think it's I've really appreciated the work that the board has put into the zoo. For a number of years, we've been challenged as a city in terms of the sustainability of the current facility. It's dated. The amount of funds that were made available, quite frankly, I think made it very difficult to grow, and its long-term sustainability really had come into question. So a group had brought forward a plan for the Boreal Discovery Center. That was endorsed last year. During the process, unfortunately, it hasn't moved as fast as we may have hoped. The board has come back and said, in order to proceed and to try and move the transition along, the recommendation was, and there were two recommendations that came forward for the consideration of council. The city owns the facility, the Zoological Society runs it. The recommendation, one, was that during the transition to the Boreal Discovery Center, that they would move from a full-year operation to a seasonal petting zoo that would run in the summers, and that would enable them to do some of the work as well as to focus the energies on the Boreal Discovery Center. That I certainly endorse that recommendation. The second recommendation that came forward was that the City of Thompson continue to commit the current levels of funding, which is approximately $120,000 a year, during that transition period. The petting zoo will not cost that much money, which will free up some of the dollars, I think approximately 50%, to focus again on the transition. So I just want people to understand that, and I can tell you the zoo has reached out. It's reached out for volunteers. It's reached out for fundraising. It really had gotten to a point where the current situation was not satisfactory. I have received numerous calls with respect to the conditions, and it was by no way a reflection on the work of volunteers or staff. It was a reflection on the inadequate support provided and that was available. The plan to move the Boreal Discovery Center, I think, is the right plan. It will ensure that there is a zoo and an animal presence in this community, I think, for a number of years. So I certainly support it. I hope council in the budget process will continue to support, and I am absolutely confident we will have a petting zoo. The city of Flin Flon did it a number of years ago, made the transition, and I think it is the way to go.
204-677-8181. That's 204-677-8181, taking your calls directly to the mayor. Another thing, you mentioned the Best Western. It was on Tuesday night, the grand opening and the ribbon cutting. Maybe just touch a little bit on that event and how it went and what this hotel might mean for Thompson.
Well, again, I think it's an addition of a property that is first class, and again, I congratulate the partners, Tony and Elaine, on the work that they did. And as I said at the opening, I think it's really important to remember that that land was once considered non-usable. And it had some scrub trees on it. It had a sort of a swampy area in certain times of the year. And really, it was a vision of Tony and to come and say, no, I can develop a project and a property. And so, as I said, often we limit ourselves because of how we as long-time or even new residents look at the community versus someone coming in with fresh eyes and says, no, we can do something different. We can do things better. This is a huge win for Thompson because, as I said, it's additional rooms. We want to become a service center. It's first-rate project. And quite frankly, it took an area of the community and I think made it far better looking. And as I said, the entrance from the north is absolutely stunning. We truly look like a city as people come over the hill and see the community.
Absolutely. 204-677-8181. That's 204-677-8181, taking your calls directly to the mayor. The new Splash Park also had their grand opening over the weekend, Sunday. I was there, and other than the weather, it was still a very nice event and a free lunch. Maybe what are some thoughts on that?
Well, I say it's again another huge success for the community, and again I have to note the efforts of the volunteers and that neighborhood have been truly phenomenal. This started as a real conflict in the community in terms of what we were going to do with that land. And I recall similar to how we challenged the zoo, we challenged that neighborhood to come back with a plan to develop it. and they have done an amazing job to develop that park. The splash park to me is the icing on the cake. I go by there, I see people from all over this community enjoying the facility, and so to me it is a prime example of how, if we work together and we talk about making the community better and a vision to be better, we can do it. And I know Jen and Ralph Dyke and the work they and all the other volunteers have done. It's just a great site, and it's only going to get better. So I haven't been under the water. I don't know if you had a chance on Sunday. The weather wasn't great, but you know what? The number of people using it, I just think it's phenomenal. And again, I think it's going to be one of those things that people will drive by and they'll take a sense of pride that we have a facility like that in Thompson. So I hope people respect it. I urge caution in and around the area because we're still not done with some of the fencing, the landscaping, and I know it's a crowded street immediately adjacent, so we want to get some of those things done, but encourage people to get out and use it in the last, perhaps, remaining days of summer.
Yeah, it is great. It looks phenomenal. I'll give you a minute or a minute and a half to close things out with any messages for the residents.
Well, a couple things just to remind people of. We've got some major events. We're really going into the fall season when the community gets up and running again. Of course, school will be starting, and I encourage people to take caution in and around school zones. I will note we'll have a presence of bylaw as well as RCMP in and around the area to ensure that safety is first for students returning to the school, and we have to get back into thinking about children on the sidewalks, on the streets, in and around the school areas. In addition, this weekend, I encourage people to participate in the United Steelworkers Labor Day celebrations. I know President Murray Nichaporik always does a phenomenal job, and it's a great event. Encourage people to take that in. And next weekend, we'll be doing the grand open of the Thompson Regional Community Center on Saturday at 1 o'clock, and I believe that's September the it's right here. September the 8th at 1 o'clock, and encourage people to come out. And we've got a whole bunch of events planned to coincide with the Health and Leisure Mart, which again is an activity for families to get out, especially new families in the community, see what this community has to offer. The array of activities from sport to culture to heritage is phenomenal. And get out, take a look, get active. Unfortunately, the winter is coming. It's a long winter, and the best way to put up with it and to enjoy it is to get active in the community as a family. I encourage people to do that. My last message again is safety first in and around the community. We're doing some work on Thompson Drive South, immediately adjacent to the hospital. We're trying to ensure signage is there. We've opened it up for the weekend because the contractors left, but it's going to take a few weeks to complete that, and I ask for the cooperation and patience of residents.
All right, and thank you, Mayor Johnston. That will wrap things up for this week. We will be back once again next week on Thursday at 11:30. And for all the listeners, enjoy the rest of your day and the long weekend.
Thank you.
City Beat will be back next Thursday morning at 11:30.